I'm well aware, and it doesn't need to be public.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to the Church of the Palms in Okatie, South Carolina. If you didn't realize this, we are being live streamed as well. So, if you're in the witness protection program or something and don't want to be seen, just need to let you know that. Oh, okay, Ms. Layman. So, we are so excited that our Lowcountry Youth Wind Ensemble is here, or Symphony, sorry. Symphonic Ensemble, anyway, is here to share their talents with us this afternoon. And we know that you're proud, parents, and we as churchgoers here at the church are very proud because you know how they're here every Thursday night working so hard. And we're so excited that we have the ability to give them that place and a safe location where they can be here each Thursday to rehearse and know that it's not going to be too cold, not going to be too hot, they're not going to get wet. Okay, maybe I can't promise that. All right, it's a great concert for you this afternoon, so I will turn it over to Ms. Layman.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. We're going to start with March of the Dragons.
I'm going to give you some background about the next two sure you can see, just based on the current events in the world, that there's obviously something to these pieces. So back in the fall semester, some of our students were begging us to play Moscow because they had played it before and it's a really cool piece. That composer is very popular and that piece is very popular amongst middle school students. It's just a fun piece to play. It has a very interesting story behind it. So we just didn't have enough time to prepare it with all of the other music. And we said, you know what, that's a good piece. We'll do it in the spring. And then everything in the world. And so we were like, I don't know, that might not go over very well. Now, it was written years and years ago, so it has nothing to do with the current events. But we just felt like it just might be a little touchy of a subject to hit on. But then the composer came out with a sorry. The composer came out with what he called a sister piece that could be played either separately or together at a concert to go hand in hand. So we decided that we were going to do them hand in hand based on the current situation and based on why they were both written. So what I'm going to do is simply read to you the information about both pieces first so that you can know the background of why Moscow was written, and then for obvious reasons we know why KIYIV was written. But I'm going to read that background and what the melodies are based on, because there's some history to the melodies that are used in each piece. So I want you to know where those come from. And then we're going to play those pieces kind of back to back so that you can hear them. And you'll hear the relationship to each other when you hear the melodies. So Mr. BALMAGES said that, let me make sure I get in the right place here. So Moscow, 1941, was commissioned by a middle school band, but the person that it was dedicated to was of Russian descent, which is why he decided to use that type of music in this dedication. And they felt like it was fitting to base it on one of Russia's most famous songs, which is called Meadowlands. The lyrics to Meadowlands are this: Meadowlands, Meadowlands, through your heroes now are treading, Red Army heroes of the nation, heroes of the mighty Red Army. Maidens are weeping, their solitary vigils keeping, weeping for their sweethearts who are fighting, fighting in the mighty Red Army. Gay roads are winding, the sunlight on them now is shining. Over them the heroes are passing, heroes of the mighty Red Army. Let every maiden with heart no longer heavy laden strike up the singing now more loudly, sing our fighting song so proudly. The song identifies with an extremely important moment in history during the Second World War, in which the Red Army, against all odds, successfully defended Moscow against the German invasion. In October 1941, German troops were only 15 miles outside of Moscow, an unfavorable situation for the Soviet Union. 2 million people had evacuated Moscow, but Joseph Stalin stayed to rally morale. In November, the Germans launched a new attack on Moscow. The Soviet army held, and although its commanders had doubts, they launched their own defense on December 4th. The Germans, caught off guard and demoralized by the recent defeat, were pushed back and began retreating. By January, they had been pushed back nearly 200 miles. So that's the background for Moscow. This one is actually in the title. It says KIYIV 2022, a sequel to Moscow 1941. And this is what Mr. BALMAGES wrote about it. Like so many around the world, I believe strongly in the ability of one person to make a difference for those in Ukraine. To that end, after 16 years, I have decided that it is now time for an official sequel to one of the most popular pieces I've written ever for young band, Moscow 1941. This work has seen senseless tragedy, humanitarian crisis, and incredible heroism and passion from the Ukrainian people. I will be donating 100% of the proceeds of this initial release to relief organizations on the ground in Ukraine. This piece, KIYIV 2022, changes the narrative, where the theme from Moscow 1941, which is based on the Russian folk song Meadowlands, now becomes the aggressor, and the heroic people of Ukraine are represented by the Ukrainian national anthem and the powerful song of the prayer for Ukraine. Musicians familiar with Moscow will undoubtedly hear the intentional parallels between the two pieces. And I can see KIIV 2022 being performed alongside or even in place of Moscow. Certainly, I hope it will spark a lot of conversation about humanity, history, culture, and more. And I hope directors are able to use this piece to help students see how music really can help us relate to the world around us, and also to offer a musical way to support the people of Ukraine.
And then we also have two links to two organizations that support relief in Ukraine. You don't have to do this, but one is to the Red Cross. They don't have a direct link that goes to supporting Ukraine, but they have donations, their general funds that they're using to help provide relief for refugees. And then also Doctors Without Borders is another organization that is helping to support Ukraine refugees. So we have a QR code for each link, and they're over where the programs were, if you saw those QR codes. So that's just something, if you feel that you would like to do, we would love for you to do that. Also, if you feel like there's another link somewhere else that you'd be more comfortable using, you can use that as well, but we'd really appreciate it if you could help that out.
We typically ask for donations for our ensemble during our concerts, and we are not today. We would prefer that you either donate to one of those organizations or to an organization that you feel strongly about instead of that for this concert. Thank you. those two pieces are the most challenging pieces we play on the program, just so you know from a musical standpoint. I'm going to make some announcements to give them kind of some recovery time here and here. We had students participating in a lot of different events this year between both counties. So we felt that this would be a great place to recognize the students and their programs because this isn't the only thing that they do. You all know as the parents, because you're the ones driving them from here to Somerville to Charleston to everywhere. Or you're putting them on a bus with one of us to get them there. So we felt this would be a great place to recognize those students for their achievements as well. So the first students we'd like to recognize, we ended up not being able to have this event because of COVID. It's when the last major wave hit. And that was our Beaufort Jasper Honor Band. But we had quite a few students try out and make the band. Even though we didn't get to have the honor band, they earned a spot in that honor band, and we wanted to recognize them for that. So if you were one of the students who earned a spot in the Beaufort Honor Band, please just stand up and be recognized. Thank you. And we kind of went in order of the calendar. The next big thing was Region 4 Honor Band. That was sponsored by the South Carolina Band Directors Association. A lot of students went to Somerville to audition for that, and it's a pretty intense audition. The Beaufort Jasper Honor Band, we kind of have created that to help prep the students for this audition. And we had several students who represented both counties in the Region 4 Honor Band up in the Somerville area this year. If I could get those students to please stand and be recognized. And then two of our programs went to our concert performance assessment, which is a state assessment. And it's a pretty, it's a very intense preparation for that. And it's an intense performance for us as directors and as students. They perform 3 songs in front of 3 judges that they've prepared. And those judges use a state rubric to assess us on that, knowing nothing about our programs. They don't know what we've dealt with, what students had been quarantined when, or what instruments they might be playing on, or anything. And then they go into another room and they get a new piece of music that they've never seen before. They have 6 minutes to prepare it without playing a note. We get to talk them through it and do airplay and tizzling, all those things that you might have heard them talk about. And then they perform that piece for 2 separate judges who don't know what they did on stage. So they have no idea what those students do on stage. And they get judged on a separate rubric, again, not knowing anything about the program. And they're judged on that piece. And then they average those scores, those 5 judges' scores together to get those scores. And the Ridgeland Hardeeville High School students got an overall of good, right? That is the 3rd highest you can get in the rating system. So they got an overall of a good. So anybody that participated in that ensemble, that honor band from Ridgeland Hardeeville High School, please stand and be recognized. And the students from Bluffton Middle School received an excellent rating, which is the 2nd highest score you can receive as an overall rating. And if I could get all of the Bluffton Middle School students and their director to please stand and be recognized. And I don't have any of my middle school students participating, but I feel like I should brag because I was their director. And my students went and we were doing all this prep while we were rehearsing this too. So they were rehearsing for multiple performances, but my students received an overall excellent rating as well. So. And the next event on our schedule was solo and ensemble. We had several students travel. I know our students traveled to Charleston, right? Okay. And they received excellence and superiors. I know that. I don't remember each one, sorry. But I want to have those students stand up and be recognized because that was completely different music from any of this. Please stand up if you went to so long. And then the McCracken Middle School and Bluffton Middle School students went to the Carowinds Festival of Music and were judged on their performances, similar to what concert performance assessment was without the sight reading portion. So the McCracken Middle School students, if I could have you stand, they earned an excellent rating at that festival, and their director as well. And the Bluffton Middle School students and their director earned a superior rating. And we have just one more person to recognize, and that is Miss Butler. She was actually recognized as the Teacher of the Year for Bluffton Middle School this year, and I feel like that deserves a lot of praise. So we'd like to recognize her as well. And now back to the music. The piece At Twilight is by Tyler S. Grant, and these are the program notes that he wrote about this piece and why he wrote it. Today we live in a world of chaos and noise. Often we find ourselves racing between work, family, travel, school, and so much more that we tend to lose track of how quickly life is going by. Amidst all this chaos, I try to find time each day to relax and reflect on life itself, oftentimes in the evening at twilight, as the noise of the world around me fades into silence. Frequently, I am recharging my batteries more than just reflecting, but doing so in a truly peaceful way. This piece, At Twilight, captures the reflection and rest that I experienced during this time without the interruption of cell phones, email, or any other connections to the outside world. It is my hope that listeners will take just a few moments and experience this quiet, this tranquil feeling that comes at twilight.
The next piece we're going to play is called Storm Surge by David Schaeffer. And the composer, when writing this, is thinking about the ocean and waves, so you're going to hear a lot of movement in here, and the students use dynamics, which is the loudness or softness of the music, to emulate that. So if you'd be listening out for that. Before we perform our last piece, we do have a few people to thank. This concert cycle year, which started in the fall, we did our fall concert and our spring concert. We had 3 conductors, so it's myself, Miss Layman, and Miss Randall. Those 2 ladies are awesome educators, and they are both headed out to new adventures next year, so they'll be moving. So we wanted to take a moment to thank them for all of their hard work and recognize them. So if we could first, Miss Layman, who is a percussion extraordinaire. She's playing trumpet with the band. She moves around. She does anything that we need. So if we could please recognize Miss Layman. Pause, please. Okay. You can, yeah. There you go. Give her one more hand. And as you can read in the back of your program, Miss Randall is one of the founding members of this group, and we are all here today because of her and putting together and organizing. She's the reason that we're here, and she's the reason that this group exists. So we just want to take a moment and thank you so much, Miss Randall. Our last group that we need to thank is all of the kind people here at Church of the Palms. Anna Marie Keither, who helps us have our rehearsal space, is always so hospitable. To Pastor Pete, who allows us to be here, and to all of the kind people in the hospitality group who have put on a wonderful reception for us in the other room. So we hope that you'll join us after after our final piece. So thank you to you. We couldn't do it without you. We're so appreciative of your space and all of your kindness. So thank you to all of them.
We're going to finish up with our last piece called Avenger. And it's a very aggressive piece. It's meant for a younger group, so we're focusing on cool harmonies with lots of different rhythms. So you'll hear different parts of the group playing the melody, and then you'll hear this ostinato is what we called a repeated rhythmic pattern. So you hear a lot of eighth notes, repeated patterns going on. So we're going to finish up with Avenger by Rob Grice.
Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you. Look for the next rehearsal cycle to start after the next school year starts. We will still continue having this ensemble, so please look for that, and I hope that you will all join us in the reception next door. I can never remember the name. The Fellowship Hall, thank you. Thank you again.
We do have the QR codes that are right by the door to the Fellowship Hall.
Yes. Okay.
Did you notice how they all moved as I came barreling up here? We just want to mention that just in case you aren't QR code savvy, that if you want to make a donation of cash in the basket that's in the middle, we as a church would be more than happy to count that and send that to one of the QR codes, okay? Maybe we'll let the directors tell us which one they want us to send it to. All right, so just in case, no excuses. And thank you out there in Cyberland. We hope you enjoyed the concert.